Hello, here we are on video 2. Continuing with reading the notes from the Glencoe carpentry book for Michigan Builder's License. I'm on page 83, starting off with first aid. First aid is the initial help and care given to an injured person on the job site. If a construction site is not close to a hospital or other source of medical help, OSHA requires that a person who's certified to give first aid be the first at the job site. A first aid kit must also be available on a job site. Even if you're not certified to give first aid, you should always respond to an accident or injury. Make sure that you report all the injuries immediately to a supervisor, know how to summon for help, know the location of the first aid equipment, and this one he has starred, do not give first aid unless you have been trained to do so. Untrained people can make injury worse or endanger themselves. This is where he talks about having a competent person on site, that each company should have their own competent person. Page 84, under hazards on the job, this one starred. Falls are the most common cause of major injury on the construction site. Other common injuries include cuts, punctured wounds, hearing damage, and injuries from falling, objects or contacts with toxic poisonous substances. Falls and materials. Because falling is the most common cause of injury on the construction site, stay alert for possible hazards. Always wear proper footwear, which will help you to maintain traction. Always walk, don't run. Anyone who works at a height, such as carpenters, masons, roofers, and painters, should take extra care. Safety harnesses may be required. OSHA standards on fall protection require that any person working at a height above 6 feet must be protected by guardrails or wear fall protection and be properly secured. That's above 6 feet. Stairwells must have a safety railing around them at all times. Safety railings must have railings around them at all times. Stairwells. Unprotected or poorly protected stair openings can lead to serious falls. However, not every railing is safe. There's a picture here on page 86. Or I have several notes made on it. And it talks about why this is not very structurally sound. When constructing a safety railing, try to imagine how it would perform if someone carrying tools suddenly slipped on a step. Would the railing prevent that person from toppling over the edge? All connections on this railing system must be strong enough to withstand sudden stress. So if you have a 200-pound person who fell, would it withstand 250 pounds with additional fall pressure? Screwed connections are generally better than nailed connections. However, be sure the screws are suitable for the work. For example, drywall screws may snap when subject to a sudden shear force. Temporary openings on a roof, such as a skylight framing, should be covered with a thick sheet of plywood when not working on it. The plywood should be nailed or screwed in place to prevent it from slipping. Covers over openings must be labeled using red lettering to signify danger, to ensure that they are not removed accidentally or left in place longer than necessary. Roof jacks or other scaffolding should be used whenever necessary to prevent falls. Workplace floors and clean and dry possible to prevent accidental slips. Be sure to dispose of debris properly. Never step on any material that's not nailed down. Wherever construction debris must be dropped from a height of 20 feet or more to any point outside the building, an enclosed chute must be used. An enclosed chute. This reduces the danger of falling objects to workers below. When debris is dropped through a hole in the floor without the use of chutes, the spot where it lands must be completely enclosed with barricades. And then it goes into talking about electric hazards. Conductor. Actually, I'll go back and talk about this. The picture up here. Right here, up at the top, up here, there should be a toe kick so that tools can't fall off if it's dropped or nails are slinging across the floor. The handrail has to come down to the very first step. This handrail comes short. There should be a mid-guard, a guardrail going here, and another support going vertically down here. This would not be strong enough if somebody fell coming down these stairs. There should be a toe kick right here on the edge of this landing right here. And now back to electrical hazards. Yay! Okay, conductor is a material that electricity readily follows through. Conductors include most metals. Materials that do not conduct electricity readily are called insulators. Rubber is a good insulator. However, moisture can cause some materials to conduct electricity, even if they are poor conductors when dry. This is particularly true of wood. When electricity flows from a point of origin and returns to the point of origin through a conductor, it makes an electrical circuit. Most conductors used in circuits are metal wires insulated with plastic or rubber casing. The insulation protects the user from electricity. However, if the insulation is frayed or broken, the conductor is exposed. A person can become part of the circuit by touching both wires in the circuit, or by touching the hot wire and the ground wire. The hot wire is the one bringing electricity power to the device. A person can also become part of the circuit if the tool being used comes in contact with a wire carrying electricity. This could be a hand tool, such as a screwdriver or a power tool. When the body becomes part of the circuit, the electricity that flows through it can cause serious burns, injury, or even death. For safety, all power tools must be grounded. Grounding provides a path for the electricity to flow safely from the tool to the earth. If a person accidentally becomes part of the circuit, electricity will flow through the ground wire, not through the person using the tool. Any break in the grounding system makes it useless. So it's very important to keep the system working properly. Electrical tool safety. Electrical tools typically rely on one or more of these safety systems. A third wired cord with a grounding prong. The grounding prong must never be removed from the plug. When an adapter is used on a two-hole receptacle, the adapter wire must be attached to a known ground. A two-wired cord and an insulated plastic shell around the tool's electrical components. The tool is then referred to as a double insulated tool. A ground fault circuit interrupter, also known as a GFCI. A GFCI is a fast-acting circuit breaker that can protect people from electrical shock. One version of this device is known as a portable GFCI. A GFCI can be attached to a cord supplying electricity to a power tool. It is particularly important whenever moisture is present. Employers are required to provide GFCIs for all temporary 120 volt, 15 and 20 amp receptacle outlets on a construction site. A GFCI should also protect any permanent wiring used during the construction process. OSHA requires that, OSHA requires that GFCIs be used in addition to, not as a substitution for grounding devices on tools. GFCI protection is required by OSHA for any use of electrical tools on any job site. This can be accomplished either at the source by using the GFCI breaker in the electrical panel, using a GFCI outlet, or adding a GFCI pigtail or a power cord adapter between the power cord and the receptacle. Preventing tool injuries. Using hand and power tools can create many hazards. However, keeping 5 basic safety rules in mind can help prevent many injuries. I'm going to show you, before we go further, what one of those pigtail cords look like. And we'll stop this video here. We'll talk about the safety preventing injuries. Bye guys, see you soon.